Good morning, everyone. How are you all feeling today? Good? Excellent. Transformed? What happened? This is what I've been trying to tell you. It is not I who can make that change in your life, it is the Mahasangha. Now you know what I've been going on about. You have yourselves to thank for getting yourselves to the monastery last week. And I believe that for many, if not all of you, who were able to make that journey, you found your independence. I found mine when I came across the Mahasangha. The Sangha is always the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasakas and upasikas. Once again, it is not just the monks either. It is not just the monks. The monks alone cannot make this happen. Right from when the Buddha established the community of the Sangha, there were always the upasakas and the upasikas as well. As you know, just as much as there was the chief attendant to the Buddha who was a monk, there was also a chief benefactor. And there was a chief benefactress. On many occasions, members of the lay community, the upasakas and the upasikas, they took pride in walking up to the Buddha and sharing with him things that in their humble opinion, they felt if this happened, if that happened, in fact, if this didn't happen, the sasana would prevail for longer. And so the Buddha always paid attention to what they had to say. He always did. And he took on board the suggestions that were made. And it is thanks to not just the monks and nuns, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, but also the lay community. Anyone who's actually devoted to the cause of Nibbāna. This all becomes part of the Sangha. If any of you at yesterday's sermon, I think I recognized a few faces there. So you have now started to make your journey up there, even on the Saturdays, which is quite something. If you were there at yesterday's talk, we talked briefly about how unity can only happen in the Buddha Sasana. People separate themselves out, they segregate themselves, they isolate themselves, and they identify as communities. People who fight for this, that, and the other. People who identify with themselves as belonging to a certain group, a certain creed, a certain race, a certain religion. All of this is because of their lack of understanding the Dhamma. Because once you understand the Dhamma, ladies and gentlemen, you realize that there is nothing that divides us. Separation is all in the mind, isn't it? So once you understand the Dhamma, you realize there is nothing that divides us. Therefore, once you take out everything that divides us, what remains? What remains is what? Unites us. That's all. So therefore, unity can only happen in the Buddha Sasana. And by the Buddha Sasana, I don't mean by becoming monks and so on. It's not the religion I speak of. It's your understanding of the Dhamma. Because no matter where you look, there are always going to be people who will want things and people who will want something else. There will be people who will want equal rights, say for the blacks, for the whites, for the men, for the women. So when you want something, you're always up against someone who wants something else. That's the way the world works. Of course, for the world to continue, for the world to prevail, worldly existence to continue, such differences, such attachments, such desires must prevail. That is how the world works. But that is what they call the Lokayata Sasana. And then there is a Lokottara Sasana. One is mundane and the other is supramundane. What you have embarked on, ladies and gentlemen, is the supramundane Sasana. In this Sasana, there are no men and women. Conventionally, yes. Conventionally. But spiritually, there are no men and women. In the eyes of the Buddha, there are no men and women. But I know you'll promptly ask me the question, well then why did he reject a request from the women to enter the Buddha Sasana? Why was it that he had to be asked on 3 occasions, 3 times by the Venerable Ananda Thera before they were permitted into the Sasana? You must remember, he was a very practical man and he was grounded in reality. He always advises, conform to convention. Convention is one, absolute truth is another. That's why I always urge you to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, your Nibbāna is a very private affair. Best you don't go going around telling people that you're on the path to Nibbāna. People are going to pull you by the leg. They are. They're not going to like it. Because what do people want from you? Why do people treat you well? You'll tell me that's because they love me. Define love. Take it one step further. Don't stop short at love. Why do people love you? Why do people like you? Why do people give you things? It's because they want something back from you. Let's face up to the reality of life out there. There's no point in fooling ourselves because there's no one you can fool besides yourself. If we are to fool ourselves to think that people are only there because they love us, they give us things only because they want nothing more than our good, the goodness that happens to us and goodness that comes to us, then you are speaking of a noble one. You are speaking of someone who gives you something, expecting nothing in return because they don't think and believe that their happiness lies in what you have to offer them. That is the only time where that can be true. But on every other instance, and on every other occasion, if people come up to you and offer you something, let's just say 9 times out of 10, I'll give you the one, just to be nice to you. 9 times out of 10. No, 9.5 times out of 10. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. It's because they want something out of you. Otherwise, why do you love your children more than you love the children next door? If the 2 of them get into a fight, your child versus the child next door, chances are, you can't help it. This comes so naturally to you. Your instincts will always speak on behalf of whose child? Mothers? If you're a father, on whose child's behalf are you going to speak? Of course, yours. It's not a sin because you can't control it. It happens naturally. But those who aspire to a greater truth, those who believe in happiness that is not tainted in attachment, those who aspire to a happiness that is unconditional, which is the journey on which you are right now. I want for you to have a day where you can say, Swaminathan, no matter what goes on around me, I'm happy. Has that day come to you yet? If you are, you have won. In fact, if that day has come to you, you no longer need to come here. Honestly. I am not after a follower base. I think you know that. I don't want followers. I just want students. Because a student realizes that once he has learned, and then they go on to teach someone else. That's what students do. But if you're a follower, you will always have to be with the shepherd. I'm not after a flock of sheep. Although I wonder why they bought a bullock cart today. There was one by the entrance. Who came in that? More importantly, which side were you on? Guru Ramdhara usually tells us all, when he speaks to devotees in particular, if a couple come to you, usually the wife is on the passenger side of the bullock cart. I'm not going to say the other half. But we need to get serious about ourselves. We need to get serious about what life holds for us. Life is short, and you know this. Time doesn't wait for anyone. We're always up against time. Every other victory that you make is time-bound. There may be someone in this room who's the richest person, under this roof in this room, but it's a function of time. Yes or no? Why do I say it is a function of time? Because time will beat you. Meaning, it's only a matter of time before you are no longer the richest man here. Yes or no? Yes. What if you're the prettiest person here? What if you're the most handsome person here? Maybe if your looks is what brings you happiness, and you like to be the best looking person around, in your group, in your community, who's going to beat you? Time's going to beat you. If ever you compete with time, you will always be defeated. Here's the truth. You're always competing against time. In every pursuit in life, you're always competing against time. If you want to be at the top of your game, you always have to go to compete with time, but time always wins. Did you ever hear a eulogy that was uttered for time? You know what a eulogy is? It gets read when a person dies. Yeah? Talks about how good they have been and what service they have rendered to society. Ever heard of a eulogy that was read for time? Ever? Where was time buried? Ever heard of a coffin that was made for time? Why not? Because time never dies. Then who does? We do. Time remains, we die. So therefore, time always won. We always died. In other words, every victory that we have ever achieved, time has always taken it back from you. Disagree with me if you can, ladies and gentlemen, but give me fact. This is why I want you to aspire to a greater victory than something that time can ever take away from you. Unless you do that, you're not making meaning out of life. I'm going to show you that today with a few examples. It really almost brings a tear to my eye. Gladly, my teachers have helped me and the dhamma has helped me so that I can't remember the last time I shed a tear. But it almost brings a tear to my eye to see how much people toil day and night pursuing a happiness that is never theirs and that never will be theirs. I will prove that to you today. You know you work your socks off, don't you? You know how hard you work. Sometimes it's physically intensive, other times it's mentally intensive. Do you remember your parents used to say, study hard so you don't have to labor, so you don't have to break your back trying to earn a living? I've brought with me a few video clips of how people who didn't take that advice have gone on to make a living by shedding their sweat, blood and tears, and that's how they know to make a living. But then there's you. You took that advice. Good advice was given and you took it. You studied. You worked hard. You took the courses. You went to the classes. You did your work. You strived. And then today, you don't have to work hard physically. You get paid more than they do. Yes, they do the blue-collar jobs. You do the white-collar stuff. You get paid more than they do. But that's because you suffer mentally. They suffer physically. They do a lot of work that can be done by machines. They do a lot of work that can be done by oxen, horses. Donkeys can do some of those work, some of the work that they do. Machines can do some of the work they do. But most of the work that you do, yet machines are unable to. But they're bringing artificial intelligence. It's coming around very soon. It's going to beat you. And then, soon enough, most of your jobs are going to become irrelevant. Then who are you going to go talk to? Over the next few years, ladies and gentlemen, work life, as you know, is going to change dramatically. Most of you will live to see this happen. Most of you will. The youth of today are going to have to be at the top of their game. This world is not competitive enough. Unfortunately, this world is not competitive enough for the youth of today to be relevant in 10 years' time. It's not competitive enough. So what do you think is going to happen? If it's not competitive enough, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to get even more competitive. It's going to get tougher. And life is going to become a real drain on everyone. Because jobs are going to be harder to get, but at the same time, people's desires just keep on growing. What makes you happy today doesn't make you happy tomorrow. Soon enough, it's not going to be enough to take a trip on a jet to go on holiday, because everyone's going to be talking about how they went on vacation to the moon, and then people here in 20 years' time, 15 years' time, maybe even 10 years' time, you will feel undermined if you haven't set foot on moon before you die. It's going to be the next target. Don't you think that you are not going to be influenced by society? Never get into this wrong thinking. Well, society says these things, but we don't want it. Not so. Most of your choices today are influenced by whom? Why is your house that big? Why is your car that size? Who decided the places you go to travel? Most of these choices are determined by the community that you live in, by the society that you live in, and you can't help it because you have a vexing mind. And once the mind vexes, the mind knows no other truth, no other solace than to seek relief from vexation. And the only way the mind knows to do that, unless you're equipped with the dhamma, is to go after the object of your vexation. That is why we are here to learn an alternative, to free ourselves from those vexations. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and I speak to you from the bottom of my heart, this is going to happen to everyone out there. Over the next 50 years, life is going to get incredibly difficult. Yes, we're going to have the technology that's going to help people live longer. Yes, we're going to have the technology to help people cure themselves when they fall ill. But at the same time, even more rapidly, at a much faster rate, people's desires are going to keep growing. You know the human heart can never be satisfied. Where do you need to look for evidence for that? Just look in the mirror. You know the human heart cannot be satisfied because the human heart is rife with ignorance and attachment. Whatever the mind wants, the mind will have to find a way to get it. You know this is true. Whenever you wanted something, you had to find a way to go and get it. But you've always been civil, so therefore you only sought civil ways of getting it. That is what civilization is. But weren't there times, aren't there events, occasions that you don't want to think of? Events of your past, things that you did that you don't want to think of because those were not your finest moments, moments that would embarrass you if I spoke of them in public? Don't all of you have something that you have hidden from everyone else in society? That includes your parents, that includes your spouses, includes your children, includes your siblings, includes everyone. Everyone has that. You're not alone. Everyone has that. Young people these days, they have lots of them. So many things that are done behind closed doors. that parents never get to find out about. So many things get done behind curtains that no one finds out about, but they have to bear the burden of it. But when vexation strikes, who do you call? Who do you go to? That is why it is crucial that we impart the dhamma on as many hearts and minds as we possibly can. That's why Guru Hamdru made that invitation to you last week. Let the Sangha protect you. We are not a special kind of species. Just because I'm in a robe and you're in lay clothes, it doesn't make me a special kind of species. Cut me and I bleed the same. I breathe the same air that you do. I eat the same food that you do. In fact, you offer it to me. This fabric is made of the same material that yours is. It's just a different color. That's all. I grew up in the same country that you did. I had the same teachers, we went to the same schools. My parents were just like yours. They had the same affection towards me as yours did to you. They had the same problems. I had experienced the same problems at home as every child does. All family life, every relationship has its ups and downs. We've been through all of that. All of us have. That is why I constantly remind you, I haven't fallen out of the sky. I know what it feels like. And I have gone through all that. But the Sangha healed me. The Dhamma healed me. That is all what we are here for today. I just want to impart the truth to you so that you find the answers that you seek. I know you are suffering, ladies and gentlemen. If not, put your hand up and say, no, Swami, no, I don't suffer. Do you remember the last time you got angry? Unfortunately, you do. That's the problem. I don't. I don't recall the last time I got angry. And that's not because I'm getting dementia. I can remember my past very well. It's been at least 2 years, at least 1 or 2 years, the last time I got angry. Doesn't happen anymore. Meaning, I don't punish myself. That's it. Anger is the punishment you give yourself for not practicing the Dhamma. Write that down. Whenever you find yourself angry, it is the punishment that you give yourself for not practicing the Dhamma. Don't you agree? This is all I want to do. You take the Dhamma from us, apply it into your lives, free yourselves from the problems that you're in, the traps that you get yourselves into, the vexations that burn you from the inside, the problems that keep you up at night. You may be the boss of a large corporation. You may be an employer to many people. You may be a leader to a community. You may be a father at home, a mother who looks after her children. But no matter where you are in society, you all suffer the same because ignorance has gotten each and every one of you. And I haven't even begun to talk to you about what happens to you after this death. Because I know there are still skeptics in the audience. And I don't want to upset people. If you were there last week, Guru Hamdru talked to you about it. Yeah? We chase the dogs out, he said. We only preach to those who are yet to become dogs. Because once you become a dog, there's no point talking to you. But, of course, we have new faces every day. And that is always welcome. Because that is what I always ask you to do. Bring new faces, bring new people along. If you have compassion towards them, then bring him here. But we have distanced ourselves so much from the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha that today even Buddhists don't believe in rebirth. That's because they don't understand the Dhamma. That's all. I was one of them. Gosh, I was the biggest skeptic in the room. You couldn't beat me at that. If we went back a few years. There were occasions when I'd say, the Buddha. He was another man, I'm another man, he has his ways, I have my ways. What makes him so much better than I? I know what I know and he knows what he knows. What assurance do I have that what he's saying is true? So why do I have to say what he does? Or what he says? These were questions I used to, in my sheer madness and foolishness, used to say. But today I have become his servant. Only one thing happened. I listened to the Dhamma. I heeded the advice given. And I contemplated on it, as a scientist ought to do. That's why I always say, I'm not a monk. I'd much rather you think of me as a scientist in a robe. And I want all of you to be the same. Be a scientist. Use your analytical thinking. But don't just deny things on face value. Just because something doesn't make sense to you today, don't throw it away. In your medicine cupboard at home, you have a first aid box. Yeah? In there you have plasters, you have bandages, you have various other things, maybe surgical spirit and so on. Why do you keep them there? If you're not injured now, why do you keep them? You keep them for when you need it, right? So just because you don't need it right now doesn't mean you're going to throw it away. Aren't there books that you bought that you were going to read someday but you never even opened the pages? You never even opened the book or flicked through the pages? Plenty of them, right? In fact, more of the books in your library are the books that have not been read. But you went to a bookshop, you went to a bookstall, and you thought, that's a good book, I like the title, I like the author, bought it, and now it's at home gathering dust. And it's food for the termites. But one day, when you feel the need to learn something, one day when the opportunity arises, one day when you have a problem that you need to solve, then you'll be reminded, I have this book that's written on this topic, so I have to go and read it. And then that day, that book comes out of the shelf. And then you turn the pages. So in the same manner, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, today I still hesitate to talk to you about what happens after death. I still do. Because I still feel you're not ready for it. Because there's still more ground we need to cover before you will accept it as fact. Right now, if I share some of these things with you, you will tell me it's fiction. Therefore, there's no point in me telling you what's on the other side until you have realized what's on this side. But if you want that day to come to you sooner rather than later, all I can ask you to do is two things. One, do merits. Two, practice what you have learned. In your contemplation, in your application of the Dhamma, your wisdom will grow. You will then be able to understand things much more than you understand today. Your scope grows, your horizon broadens. You'll be able to be more open to certain concepts. But whether you accept it or not, there is a party after this. The Buddhas don't just preach things because it comes to their minds. They only speak the truth. And if you even begin to study some of the suttas in which the Buddha speaks of the four great hells and what's out there, these are the truths that he has seen through his own eyes, through his divine eye. If you even begin to pay attention and listen to some of the things that he says, and he has said about the four great hells, about the preta worlds, about the animal realm, you can see some of it. But there are four great hells and one which is called the Niraya, which you can't even fathom what it's like. But one day I will explain to you when you're ready for it. Let's just hope that day does not come too late for you. But here's the thing though. You don't necessarily need to learn about the four great hells to escape the four great hells. That's not a condition of your escaping the four great hells. You don't need to learn about them. What you need to learn about is the Dhamma. Because no one desires to go to hell, just like no one desires to suffer, but you suffer, right? Don't you suffer? You get angry, but do you desire to be angry? No. So you understand that it's not what you desire that happens, it's what you deserve. In other words, when there are the causes for something, that becomes the effect, that becomes the result. So if there are causes for one to be born in the heavens, then you shall be born in the heavens. If there are causes for one to be born in the hells, then you shall be born in the hells. So then why are you human today? Because there were causes for you to be born human. Therefore you are human today. But unfortunately, most people don't understand the value of having been born human. Therefore, they spend their valuable human life doing things that animals can do, doing things that machines can do, and then they just while away their valuable human years. I'll show that to you in just a moment. And then you wonder why people waste their lives like this, when human value, a human life, is much more valuable and much more precious because it helps you to achieve one thing and one thing alone. And that is the bliss of Nibbāna. But before we do that, it is time to take a moment to pay our reverence to our teacher, to the great master, to the Supreme Buddha. It is thanks to him we have the truth today. If he hadn't trodden the path and discovered it all by himself, we would not have had the path to liberation today. He had no teacher, we have plenty of them. So let us be grateful for that. For he, out of compassion and loving kindness, spent the remainder of his life having only slept for 2 hours a day if he was lucky. Can you imagine 2 hours a day? Just for 2 hours a day if he was lucky, he got that. The rest of his time he committed himself. Every step he took, every breath he took, every word he uttered, he did so to heal the human heart, to heal the devas, to heal the brahmas, anyone who would come across him. He had something to say, to help them, to prosper, to free themselves from suffering. That is the kind of teacher that we are all so fortunate to have had. So let us take a moment to bring our palms together in veneration of his holy name. He who is the unparalleled one, he who is the blessed one, he who is the infinitely compassionate one, he who is the omniscient one, the Supreme Buddha, the fully enlightened one. To his name we make this veneration. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Are you all here for your freedom? Are you? Are you steadfast on that? You want it and nothing else? Are you? Seriously? Are you willing to do whatever it takes for that? You sure? No buts, no ifs, no conditions? Come on, tell me the truth. There are still some buts, aren't there? Too much of anything is not too good, is it? Too much of Nibbāna? You don't want too much of it, do you? You just want just a little bit of Nibbāna. Huh? I don't want you to fool yourselves to death, ladies and gentlemen. You know, you can live your life in one of two ways. You can either live your life and achieve happiness, or you can live your life trying to find happiness. These two things are different. There can only be one path to happiness. If there's only one path to happiness, and you're all on different paths, then only one of you in this room can be right. If I asked you, put your hand up if you are, let's say, a teacher. There will be some of you who will put your hand up and say, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher, I was a teacher. Then if I asked you, put your hand up if you're a doctor. Or if medicine was your profession, or something related to medicine, then there will be some of you who will put your hand up. Then if I ask you if you want to be a scientist, that could be a computer scientist, a physicist, a biologist, a chemist, whatever. Something to do with science. Some of you will put your hand up. If maths was your field of interest, I ask you that, and then there will be others who will put their hand up. Then there will be... Sorry, it's still there. Excuse me. Then there'll be those who will say, actually, Swami Nuhansa, at a very young age, I realized that studying, education was not my thing. I was not very good at school anyway, so I chose sport. So that is how I wanted to make a future for myself. So then if I ask the sportsmen and women in this room to put their hand up, then there'll be some of you who'll put their hand up and go, I'm a sportsman. These are all different paths that you have chosen, with or without help from those who you lived with or without guidance. You have somehow chosen that path, those paths, and now you are on these paths. You are all on these paths because you all want to get to one destination. Don't you see the irony in that? If you're all after the same thing, how can you all be on so many different paths? Either you're all wrong, or everyone but one in this room is wrong. I have also chosen a path, as you can see. This is my path. This is your path. Our paths are very numerous. Either we're all wrong, that can also be possible. None of us have discovered the path to happiness. Or everyone in this room but one is wrong. And I'm not going to suggest that it is me right now. I will do later, but for now, I'm not going to suggest it's me. Let's assume it's one of you in the audience who's got it right. So one of you in this audience has chosen the right path, and everyone else, including myself, we all got it wrong. Okay? If you had chosen the right path, if you are on the right path, then the answers to these questions should be yes. Ready? Here's my question. Oh, here are my questions. You are never disappointed. Yes? You are never frustrated. You never get annoyed. Why am I saying these things? Because these are things that you don't want in your life. Agreed? Let's put a bunch of things you don't want in your life. Frustration? Anyone wants it? No. Disappointments? Anyone? Sorrow? Anyone? Volunteers? Sorrow? Sorrow going once, sorrow going twice. Fear? Anyone? Anyone want it? Anger? Anyone? My question is, you got to be free from anger because you don't want it. Or you must tell me, Swaminathan, no, I want anger. I define myself with anger. I am the angry one. You know, we have the blessed one. Yeah? Then there's always the late one. Remember at school, there was always the late one? Yeah? Then there was always the punctual one. They arrive even before the teacher does. There's the punctual one. Then there's the angry one. You may have one at home like that. I'm not speaking about the four-legged one. I'm speaking about the two-legged one. There's the angry one at home. Some of you might have that at home. There's the angry one. He's the angry one. No one, or he or she is the angry one. No one messes with them because they're the angry one. Then there's always the scared one. They're always scared. Never willing to take a risk. Never willing to do anything because always scared. They're always scared. Always scared. Scared of the dark. Scared of heights. Scared of adventure, scared of asking someone out, scared of, I don't know, scared of scariness. They're scared of fear as well. They're just scared. They're just scared. There's them. Sorrow, someone is always there. They're always sad. Always sad. I mean, even if Christmas came on Poya Day, these people, you can't cheer them up. They're always just so disappointed, so sorrowful, so disappointed, so frustrated all the time. You have these people in life. But I ask you the question, ladies and gentlemen, are these things you are all free of? Are you? So if I ask you, when was the last time you felt disappointed? You got to be able to say, Swaminas, I don't remember. And there can't be anything wrong with your memory either. Yeah, if you got short-term memory loss or memory loss of any sort, then you don't qualify to play this game with me. Because then you win. Yeah, then it's not an equal playing field. But if none of you have this problem, you don't have memory loss, you're all fine, then I ask you the question, put your hand up if there's anyone in this room who doesn't remember the last time they were disappointed. If you do, we are going to swap seats. Because you have also discovered the path that I'm on. These are things that you struggle with, but you're all on different paths in life. What does that tell you? Let's think like a scientist. I mean, put aside all the things society has taught you, the things you learned in books, the things you learned from your friends, right? Put all that to aside and just use your own intuition. Use your own intelligence, use your own common sense, and come to some conclusions about whether the path that you're on, for the purpose of happiness, what is happiness again? Freedom from all of these things. Is there a better, do you define happiness in any other way? What is your definition of happiness? There are two things you have to keep happy. One, you need to have a comfortable body, right? And for that you need four things. These four things are what we call the four requisites. They are required and therefore they're called the requisites. You need clothes to keep you warm or cool. You need food to sate your hunger. Food includes water if you're thirsty. You need medicines when you break, when you fall ill. And then you need shelter to keep you free from the elements, safe from the elements, safe from predators, and so all those sorts of things. These are the four things that you need physically. Okay, let's just assume on our level playing field, we all have that equally. Right, this is how we're going to play the game. All of us, we have an equal amount of these four things. We have the food that we need, we have shelter, we have clothes, and we have medicines when we need it. Everyone gets that fair and square. Now, the physical problem is solved. So here on, you can't talk about the physical problem because we are making an assumption that we all have that equally. Next, we move on to the mental realm. In the mental realm, now we have diversity. Here's where we begin to have the differences. In the mental realm, you have these problems. So physically, your happiness is when you have the four requisites. Mentally, what is your happiness? Answer. Mentally, what is your happiness? Is it not a moment when you are free from all of this? Is that not what happiness is for you? Moments in life when you are free from all of these, is that not what happiness is for you? Let's put a few more on the board. Give me a few more. Let's ask the audience. Give me a few more to go on the board. Things that without which you would be happy. These are the things that steal your happiness. Give me a few more that steal your happiness. Madam? Anxiety, yes. Someone said hope. Yes, hope. Now you'll say, hang on a second, isn't hope a positive thing? You think so? What does hope give you? It vexes you. Madam? Someone? Pain. Pain. I'm going to say pain is to do with the body, if that's okay. So these are the mental pains, right? So I'm going to, just for our discussion, pain has its own definitions, but for the purpose of our discussion, I'm going to say pain is what is felt by the body. You can internalize pain, and then that becomes an extension of the physical pain. That's why if someone hits you today, it still hurts you 10 years on. Doesn't that happen? That guy, I see him across the street. 10 years ago, he slapped me in front of everyone else, and it still hurts. Not a single cell of your body remains from 10 years ago, but it still hurts. That's an extension of pain. That's a mental thing. That's a mental thing. Give me a couple more. Expectations. Expectations. Dislike. Can you still see if I write down here? I think I can manage one. Dislike. Right. That's plenty. We are just about to define happiness. Okay? That's the purpose of this conversation. Let's define happiness. Let's define happiness in a way it is universally acceptable. Let's not walk away today unclear of what happiness means and without a definition of happiness that applies across the board to everyone. How about that for today's conversation? Yeah? Let's walk away from this hall, from this room today, having agreed on one definition of happiness that is true for all of us. I would like to propose to you, ladies and gentlemen, that happiness is a moment in your mind when you have none of these. Not some of these, not one of these, but none of these. A moment in your mind when you have none of these is a moment of happiness. This is what I propose to you. Take a moment to think about whether you agree with that or not. A moment when you're not feeling anxious. A moment when you're not feeling angry. A moment when you have no frustration, but you also have no hope. Because hope puts expectation in there. Hope is hoping what might happen in the future. So therefore you are living in the future, but in the present moment. That's what hope is. As I say, hope keeps you alive. Let me give you one better than that. Hope keeps you in samsara. Remember this carrot stuck in front of the donkey? What is that? That's hope. That's a hopeful donkey. That keeps you in samsara. It keeps you alive in samsara. A moment when you are free from all of these. One moment, I'm just talking about one moment. If there's ever a chitta that arises in you that is free from all of these, that is a moment in which you are happy. Any objections to that? For once, I give everyone in this room an opportunity to speak because I know the answer. Any objections to that? A moment in your mind when you are free from all of these is a moment when you are happy. Agreed? Unanimously? Perfect. Are you? Are you? Right now? Yesterday? 2 hours ago? When you woke up this morning, how about that? Free of anxiety, free of anger, free of frustration, free of disappointment, free of fear, free of dislike. I mean, heck, you woke up next to the... Let's not go there. You gave dislike, it wasn't me. Isn't life ridden with disappointment? Isn't life just full of fear? Whenever you have the future in your mind, what are you always living in? Fear. And the past always brings you what? Disappointments and grief. You know what the Buddha said? Tanna jayati soko, tanna jayati bhayam. For as long as attachment remains in your mind, you have something you feel. There's an emotional connection to the future and an emotional connection to the past. Your emotional connection to the future is fear. Your emotional connection to the past is grief. That is your emotional connection. You know, when good things happen a moment ago, say something really good happened to you a moment ago. A moment ago, something really good happened to you. How are you feeling now about it? Okay, let's go back to that moment. Okay? So we are in the present moment. Something really good is happening right now. How are you feeling right now? Good. We'll come to that in a moment, right? You're feeling good. The next moment, how are you feeling? Which one of these are you feeling now? Which one? Sorrow. No? Why not? Something really good happened to you in the previous moment. It's not happening now. It's not happening now. It happened to you in the previous... 1 second ago it happened to you. Not now. How are you feeling now? What do you wish? You wish to have that again, don't you? Yes? Let me give you an example. There are parents here who've given away their sons and daughters in marriage to some stranger. Used to be, but now you call them your in-laws. Once in a while you go around and you see them. Or they come over and you spend time with them. Right? So they're with you now. Let's imagine they're with you now. In the present moment you feel happy. Then now it's time to leave because tomorrow they have work to go to. So they come up to you, say, goodbye Amma, goodbye Tati, hugs, embraces, kisses, all the rest of it, and then they leave. Mothers and fathers, do you just say goodbye, shut the door on your way out? Is that what you tell them? Do you tell them, okay, thanks for coming, just shut the door on your way out? You know, you can see yourself out, can't you? And can you, on your way out, can you please make sure you padlock the doors, please? Do you say that? Or do you actually walk up to the door and then walk up to the gate and then see until the vehicle passes by and you can't see the car anymore? Don't you go and stand around the corner? Have you not seen your parents do this for you? What are they wishing for? They're wishing that the past continues. So when they see you disappear just around the bend and they can no longer see you, the Ammi and Tati at home, they look at each other and they're hoping, when are they going to see that sight again? Whereas you are away with your family, you're talking with each other, you're enjoying, talking about the good things you did, and you're talking about tomorrow because you have work to go to. But mom and dad, they're at home. The only hope that they had was seeing you and greeting you and having you at home and treating you. But now that is gone, not for another few months again, perhaps. You gave them a moment of delight, but now that moment of delight has gone into the past. So therefore, in the present moment, they are one of these. What is that? Sorrow. They're in sorrow. Right, let's say 2 months have passed. They have promised to come and see you in 2 days' time. In 2 days' time, they have promised to come and see you. You get a call from your son or your daughter, and he or she says, Ami, we are planning on coming, but, not but. He's got an interview he has to go to. She has an appointment, a business appointment that she has to go to. And if it happens, unfortunately, we are not going to be able to come, not for another 2 months. It's only every 2 months they can make this trip. But if this interview happens, if this appointment happens, then they're not going to be able to come to see you for the next 2 months. So the moment you hear that phone call, the moment you hear their voice and they say, we are going to come on day after tomorrow, but the moment you hear that but, now what comes into your mind? Which of these come into your mind? What comes into your mind? Fear. Now fear takes over. This is worry. Worry, fear, these are the two things. If there's anyone in the audience who doesn't experience this, either you have no children, or you have no expectations of your children, or you just have no expectations at all. Meaning, you have been healed by the Dhamma. This is one example, because I look at a room full of mothers and fathers and I know what some of the things, some of the things that you have to go through. My parents, they come over from time to time. When they get the time, they come down to see me and they speak to me and then they say goodbye and then they leave. You'll never see me standing by the door of the temple looking around to see until the vehicle disappears around the bend. I don't do that. Their departure does not leave me in sorrow, just as much as their arrival or the hope of that does not bring me fear or expectation. If there's a mind that is sat in front of me, if I can talk to them, I will talk to them and help them free themselves from suffering. Just as I do with you, I do the same with my parents. You might say, how heartless. Don't you feel something special about your parents? Aren't they special to you? Should you be feeling about them just the same way you feel about us? Here's my answer to that. They're my parents from this birth. Okay? Carry on. Yes? Fill in the blanks. And you're my parents from previous births. Should I not be treating all the same? Shouldn't I? Why the difference? Here's the deal. My parents in this birth, and remember this well, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we must always be grateful to everyone we meet. My parents in this birth gave me a womb. I got a mother and a father. She gave me a womb and my father gave me a good upbringing. But it was not them who were responsible for me becoming a human. That was my previous parents. Don't you agree with that? There was nothing my parents in this birth could do to make me a human. If I was a human in my last birth, for instance, my parents from my last birth, from my previous birth, they kept me safe. They kept me from doing the wrong things. They got me to engage in meritorious deeds and acquire enough merit so that I could be born a human. Now, who gave me this gift then? My parents from my previous births, and they may be somewhere in the audience today. My parents in this birth, she gave me a womb, and my father cared for me, looked after me, and brought me up healthy, and so on. So therefore, you can't expect me to feel any differently about them as I feel about you. I feel about all of you the same. As the Buddha says, in this journey that we have come in samsara, there's not a single man or woman who has not been a mother or father to you, ever. So we are all connected in some way. You just don't remember that, that's all. We don't have the sight, we don't have the ability to look back into our past and see the connections that we had, the relationships that we had. But then you have to wonder, why is it that of all the people out there, you are here in this room right now? Why it is that I am paying my debts to you? Where are the other people? Why are they not here? Sansaric transactions are what these things are. It's like any transaction. We give back what we take. And whatever we take, we have to give back. Whatever we give, we get given back. That's how this works. It's fair and square. Give or deny, God is always fair. He's never unfair. What you give, you get. What you deny, you are denied. So coming back to this point, We are here to establish a truth that is true for all of us. It's not a subjective truth. I want an objective truth, a truth that is true for all of us. You are all on different paths. You are all doing different things trying to achieve happiness, and by happiness you mean freedom from all of these things. Teachers in the room, are you happy from all of these things? Teachers, give me a nod if you are. Doctors in the room, are you free from all of these? Engineers in the room, are you free from all of these? Lawyers in the room, aren't you full of all of these? I love the lawyers. Scientists in the room, are you free from all of these? Mothers in the room, are you free from all of these? Fathers, are you, sir? Who in the room is free from all of this? What does that tell you? Do I need to convince you further? If your becoming human has to mean something, ladies and gentlemen, what meaning do you want to give to your human life? Is it not to achieve a state of mind where you are free from all of this? You know, this is what your pet dog at home can never achieve. Don't you think so? Your dog at home, no matter how much you love it, care for it, feed it, shelter it, wash it, take it to the vet, and keep it safe from other dogs in the neighborhood, right? No matter what you do, there is nothing you can do to free your dog from all of this. Yes or no? Why is that? Because you can't send him to school? Is that why? No. So then, that also tells you that going to school does not free you from all of this. Some of you here will have gone to the best schools in the land. Amongst you will be those who have been to the best schools in this country. Some of you will have learned at the best universities in the world. Are you free from all of these? If happiness equals being free from all of these, and your pursuits were for the purpose of happiness, and you are still not free from all of these, then what was the point of becoming any of that? Ask your grandmother. Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe you have to age a bit before you can be free from all of these. Grandmothers in the room? Do we have a few? Oh yes, there are quite a few. Grandmothers in the room. Grandfathers? We have a few. Free from all of this? All of this. Wonderful. We only have one person in the room who's free from all of these. But what about the rest of you? If you can still remember the last time you got angry, you're not free from it. But you are a grandmother. Did you come into this world to become a grandmother? You know, don't take this the wrong way. You know Lanka that you have at home? What name have you given her? I'm asking the dog that you have at home. Is it Lanka? You know, soon enough she's going to become a grandmother, right? Huh? Soon enough she's going to become a grandmother. Yeah? She's not going to be free from all of this. She's become a grandmother. You have also become a grandmother. Neither of you are free from all of this. What was the point of becoming a grandmother? I mean, if a dog can become a grandmother, Should that be the purpose of a human's life? You know, the Buddha saw this world and he split beings into two groups, two categories. There were those who he referred to as the Dugati Sattva. What is that again? Dugati Sattva. Then there were those who he referred to as the Sugati Sattva. There's a distinction between these two groups, ladies and gentlemen. They both have bodies, so therefore that is not the distinction. Let's look past the physical form. You know, it really has no bearing on any of this we talk about. Let the bodies, let it go. That's not the biggest difference. But if I ask you what is the biggest difference between a dog and a man, you'll tell me one's on 4 legs, the other's on 2. That is not the biggest difference. You need to be more intelligent and see beyond that. If I ask you what is the difference between a cow and a human being, again you will tell me, well, one, you get the fertilizer, you get dung from it, it has hooves, right? It eats grass, the other eats rice. That is not the biggest difference. That is not what sets a cow apart from a human being, although that's what you learn for biology. I'm telling you, the biologists, they haven't got a clue what we're talking about here. I was one once. Because in biology, they don't teach you the reality of the world. They teach you the conventional reality of the world. Every scientist out there, every truth they have discovered is a timely truth. It's time-bound. When Rutherford discovered the atom, he said, this is the indivisible particle. And he made a name out of it, he made a living out of it. Soon enough, someone came and said, no. Then they split the atom up into electrons, protons, and neutrons. And then whoever discovered that, I can't remember their names now, said, this is the most indivisible particle. Was it a truth? Yes. Timeless truth? No. No, not a timeless truth. What is the deepest spot on the planet? What is the deepest you can go? It's the Mariana Trench, as far as I believe. They haven't discovered one deeper than that yet. We must always suffix it with yet. Every truth you have to suffix with yet. Who's the richest man in the world? You can't answer that question without asking me another one. Yes or no? You can't answer that question without asking me another one. What is the other question you have to ask me? When? When, Swami knows? When? Then I'll tell you, in 2022, who was the richest man in the world? Then you'll turn the pages, you'll type in Google, wherever, and you get an answer. This is the answer. Richest man in the world in 2022. I'll ask you again, who's the richest man in the world? Again, you'll have to ask me, when, Swami no answer. Therefore, yes, that was a truth. In the Guinness Book of Records, you will find truths. What truths? Timely truths. They are all time-bound. In other words, time always defeated them. I'm trying to open your eyes to a reality, ladies and gentlemen, a reality that's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard. I want these words to make a difference to you before time gets you. Because I care about you. Time is getting you, it's reaching you, it's coming after you, and you will never be able to defeat time unless you become timeless. You have to escape the dimension of time. There's only one teaching that does that. That is why you say, Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, to the Sangha who practice a discipline, a teaching that is timeless. One quality of the Dhamma is that it is akalika. You've heard this. It is one of the qualities of the Dhamma. It is timeless. You might wonder what this timeless actually means. Timeless means it's a truth that is not time-bound. It is not dependent on a time. It is not for 2024. It doesn't change with time. What is true today? The world is anicca, dukkha and anatta. If you attach, you will suffer. Not today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, because on the dimension of time has no bearing on this. So if you attach, you will suffer when? When? Wrong question, Swaminathan, is what you'll have to tell me in return. Because that question is irrelevant. If you attach, you suffer. Not when. If you attach, you suffer on full moon Poya days. Yes? What are you, werewolves? This is the reality. This is the truth. I'm trying to get to you before time does. But I don't know whether I can beat time. But I think if we work together, we can. Today, you have your youth on your side. Your faculties are still functioning. You are still fit enough to bring yourself here. You're educated enough to understand what I'm telling you. You've learned the language. You have some faith, some devotion towards the sasana. Therefore, you are engaging in merits and you continue to do so. You believe in merits, you believe in this stuff. Therefore, you are working your way to defeat time. But think about every man, woman and child out there. Time always gets them. The richest man in the world will die. How? The richest man in the world will die. What? The poorest man in the world. Because when he dies, what does his coffin get packed with? All the money he's earned. He comes into this world without even a thread to his name. He leaves this world without even a thread to his name. Even the air that he breathed while he was alive is not his to take with him. Do you remember how much money you had in your previous birth? Do you? Can you claim any of it? Let's just say even if you could, go back, there's someone hypnotized you, let's say, and you could tell your previous birth and you realize, in your previous birth you were an emperor. You were the great emperor of China. Okay? When the Great Wall was built, you commissioned that. And you had it built. Okay? You had the staff, you had it built, and it was yours because you were the emperor at the time. You remember now that in your previous birth, many years ago, you were the great emperor of China. Tell me, are you going to go to China now and tell them, yo, I was the great emperor of China. I remember that. So this great wall, it was built by me. Name it after me now. What do you think they'll do to you? What do you think they'll do to you? You'll go missing, that's what they'll do to you. Never to be found again. So what was the point of all your hard work and labor in your last birth trying to become an emperor? What was the point of becoming a great king? I mean, look at the kings out there. Either kings who are kings because they are of the lineage, or self-claimed kings. You have them from time to time. But what is the point of becoming a king? If whatever you earn for yourself, you have to leave when you go, what is the point, ladies and gentlemen? Is that what human life is for? I tell you, if becoming a grandmother is the purpose of your life, like I said, Lanka, she becomes a grandmother soon enough. If she's had her puppies now, 3 years ago, soon enough, her puppies are going to have more puppies, and then she's going to become a grandmother. You don't have to do anything for that. You just become one. But there may be some, either here or some who will listen to these words, maybe online someday, maybe someday in the future, for whom the prospect of becoming a grandmother is the biggest thing in their life. I have seen people like that. They live hoping, one day I will see their little smiles. Or if only my daughter can bring another life into this world before I die. Have you not heard people say this stuff? Have you or haven't you? You have, right? Just look at, they only have another 5 years left to live. Right? The woman's got terminal cancer. And all she can hope for is, I really hope that my children will have children of their own so that I can see my grandchild before I pass away. She's only got 5 years left as a human being. And she wants to achieve what Lanka can achieve. Is this what human life has come to today? Thank you. Is this what human life has come to today? Folks, I want you to start thinking outside this box that society has created for you. When you were younger, when you were very young, people came up to you and asked you, what is your ambition, Putta? Remember? Your uncles asked you this question, your aunties asked you this question, your friends asked you this question, your teachers asked you this question, and if ever you said, I want to become a monk, something's wrong with this child. Just imagine if you said, I want to attain Nibbāna. They'd take you to the asylum. So, even if there are children here and you're still schooling, don't. Mum's the word. Okay? Don't spill even a syllable of this. Because they'll summon your parents. Fortunately, if you're children, your parents are probably here as well, so they understand. But you will become the odd one out. And then people are going to start talking about that. And then life is going to get really difficult for you. You know why? They will want to normalize you. Because you are abnormal. That's why. If you say you want to attain Nibbāna, you become very abnormal. Because Nibbāna does not go with this world. This world is mundane. In this world you have good and bad. In this world you don't have something that is neither good nor bad. Nibbāna is neither good nor bad. Nibbāna is Nibbāna. Everything worldly is either good or bad. And that is again subjective. So in a subjective world, you can't be going after an objective happiness. People won't accept that. That's why, especially those of you who are now dedicated to this path, shush. If there's someone you feel can benefit from the dhamma, then bring them along. But don't go talking to everyone and sharing this, just putting it on the newspapers. Don't. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't advertise the fact that you are now on a path to Nibbāna. People will think you're crazy. Because people think they're normal and you're abnormal. Again, you can't fault them for that. Because in this world, there's only one thing that man knows to do. If you vex, relieve yourself from vexation. If you want a woman, as a man, if you want a woman, what would people say you got to do? If you're a man and you need a woman, there comes a time in life where you need a woman. Apparently, that's so. Right? By the time you eat, 15, 16, that's sort of, nowadays maybe 5. Right? There comes a point in your life where a man needs a woman. And you ask society, what should a man do when a man needs a woman? What's the answer? Go, get one. There's plenty of fish You say it, come on. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Go get one. And then if she gives you the dump, get another one. And then if she runs away with another man, get another one. But every time you live in one of these conditions, you either live in fear, will she betray me? Will she cheat on me? Will she lie to me? Or you live in sorrow. Oh, she betrayed me. Others, why does your husband pick up your phone to check what messages you receive? I'm not finger pointing at anyone. I'm not. Otherwise, why do you as wives get really concerned when you can smell ladies' perfume on your husband? Why? If you see a long strand of hair in his pocket, and you know he's bald-headed, so it can't be his, and his mother is dead, so it can't be his mother's either, then why do you get really worried? Because you live in fear and sorrow. These are the two states that you know to be in, provided you are attached to it. If you are attached to something, you can never be in neither one of these two states. You are always in one or the other. So therefore, no matter what path you choose in life, ladies and gentlemen, you will always be stuck in this maze of emotions. Unless you come across the Buddha's teaching, you are never going to be able to navigate out of this trap. I promise you that. This is not just hearsay. This is not just something I read in a book. It's not just something I heard in a sermon. I listened, I heeded, I practiced, I realized. And I freed myself. So whatever path you're on, if you're still suffering with one of these or as many of these, then that path cannot be the path to happiness. Let's say you like your cars, for instance. Just taking something random. You like your cars, you like your motors. Now you're always out there looking for the latest models. That every time someone sees you, you're online watching on YouTube, right? The latest models, the latest technology, the latest designs. You're a car fanatic. Or maybe you like old cars. You're an antique car collector. How much of that are you going to take with you? And besides, now that you have that interest and therefore the materials, the stuff that you have acquired as a result of pursuing your interest, are you free from all of these? Are you? You're a good businessman, admitted. You are the entrepreneur of the year. Okay, are you free from all of these? I mean, let's come back to the basics. If you're telling me the purpose of your life, the reason you have come into this world is to free yourselves from suffering, then you have to be free from all this. There's no point in you becoming the entrepreneur of the year if you haven't achieved this. Because if you don't become entrepreneur of the year, someone else will. But if you don't achieve this, freedom from all of this, no one's going to do it on your behalf. You're the sports person of the year. Always of the year. Has to be with that. Can I ever say you are the sports person? You see, realize the sentence is not complete, right? You are the sports person. Well done. You are the sports person. Something missing in that sentence? Yes, because it's a timely achievement. But when I tell you you're an arahant, do you ever ask me when? Or how long for? Do you? The great Sariputta Thera was and became an arahant. Do you ask me for how long? Do you? But I tell you, Steve Jobs became the richest man in the world. Don't you ask me for how long? So who do you think made better use of their human life? You know, folks, honestly, put aside all these indoctrinations that you've picked up from society. They haven't done you much good, honestly. They've just booby-trapped you. Now you don't know how the heck to get out of this. The dhamma is your only refuge. That's not because I'm saying it, it is the only truth. If you don't believe me, then try something else and see what happens. The dhamma is your only refuge. You are stuck in a cage. Picture this. You are stuck in a cage, like the rat that got caught last night in your kitchen. Stuck in a cage. Once you are stuck in that cage, now you are at the mercy of those who put you in there. People build and structure, they put structure to the world around you, and then they sleepwalk you into one of those cages. They tell you, why don't you go on to become a manager of a big company? Who designed that? Who designed how it works? Who designed the system? Did you before you came into this world? No, they did, right? So society did that. And then they sleepwalk you into one of them. Why do I say sleepwalk you into one of them? You'll be telling me, no, Swami, I was fully awake. I knew exactly what I was doing. No, you didn't know exactly what you were doing. You didn't know this. Because here's what they told you. If you become a manager one day, if you become the boss of the company one day, if you become the ruler of this country one day, then you will be free from suffering. You will be happy. Do you think they are happy? If you knew what I know now today, how would you feel about the president of our country? Jealous or sympathetic? Poor man. Who's going to look after him? Where's he going to go when he dies? Who's going to help him? He spends his entire life, I don't know how much sleep he gets. A man of his state probably gets maybe 15 minutes of sleep every day. I don't know how much sleep he gets, but he doesn't have enough. He probably doesn't have enough time to look after himself. So therefore, he's probably got doctors all around him, fixing him up, giving him the right meals in the right portions at the right time. So he's probably got a staff who has to maintain this body for him because he can't be preoccupied thinking about himself because he's so occupied thinking about everyone else. He has to look after the country. That's no simple task, looking after the country. I mean, looking after your family is hard enough, isn't it? Now just imagine looking after the country. Okay, so he looks after the country. For 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, let's say. What guarantee is there that he doesn't get a heart attack while he's still in office? What guarantee is there that the man doesn't suffer from a stroke while he's in office? What guarantee can you give him? We all love him because he's our president, he's our leader. This is not about a party. Whoever the president is, he's our leader, so therefore we love him. We are there to support him, whether that is man or woman. We are loyal, as we all should be. Because he has taken on the responsibility of running the country. If it's someone else from another party next day, then they have taken on the responsibility of running the country. That's all. What can we give him that he can take with him when he dies? Knowing what I know now, if you know what I know now, would you ever want to compete with him and fight for his seat? Wouldn't you rather stand up and offer him your seat? Wouldn't that be what you'd rather do? If he arrives here today, wouldn't you just put a chair up there and say, Mr. President, come and listen to this? Or would you want to go up to him and say, can I have a selfie with you, please? Tell me who's got the better deal? One who runs the country or one who has learned how to run themselves? Who's got the better deal, I ask you? Let's hope these words reach him. Only if he has the merits will he hear these words. Because only if you have merits will you come across someone who cares about you expecting nothing in return. That's why your merits brought you your mother. That's why your merits brought you your father. Expecting, I can't say nothing in return, but not much in return. They expected you to they do your exams well. They expected you to bring them fame and glory and not disfame. That much they did. But expecting nothing in return, you have to come across an Aryan. Why are Aryans very different to non-Aryans? It is because they have understood that happiness does not come from the outside world. It doesn't come in the material things. It does not come in fame. It does not come in glory. And suffering does not come in accusations or allegations. It does not come in blame. When happiness and suffering are both to be realized within oneself, now you become independent. So therefore, you have no expectation on the outside world. That's why Aryans are different. And you have either become one or you are about to become one. You're working towards that goal. What if one day you could look at your children and say, Buddha, as a mother, I will fulfill my duty to you. I will do my responsibilities with you. Excuse me. Whatever you go on to achieve, that's yours. From here on, I will not be disappointed by whatever you do. If you run away, that's your choosing. If you go and hang yourself, up to you. You can't say that right now. In fact, if your child would do that, you'd probably go hang yourself as well. Just because you can't bear the grief that it brings you. Because your happiness comes from your child. Or so you believe. What a pity. I don't know if these words are making sense to you actually. Because I'm speaking about a truth that transcends this conventional reality and the world that you live in, folks. I don't feel like I belong to that world anymore. Honestly. I reside in it, but I don't feel like I belong to it. So therefore, these words might sound alien to you. Swaminathan is coming and saying that if a mother says, if a mother sees her child go hang herself, she should be okay with that. What nonsense is that? You might think. But have you not seen what mothers get up to and what happens to mothers when children get struck by lightning I showed you the other day? I mean, this is the only way you can prepare for adversities that life is going to throw at you. What if next day you wake up and you realize your child is doing drugs? You go to make his bed. Under the pillow, you find the stuff. Now what are you going to do? There's maybe one or two parents here who are already in this situation. You want to give your children the best education. You put them on a jet, you fly them across the oceans and into a country where they have the best education. But aren't you always in fear? What if they come across a bad association? What if my child gets makes bad friends? Because you know your child is still very highly impressionable. And if you ever get news of that, I know some parents who've told me, Swaminathan, I'm in great fear because there was once a mother and father, a very loving family, brought their children down to the monastery and said, Swaminathan, please, I have to send my children abroad because to do what they want to do, to achieve the goals and ambitions that they have, I can't educate them here. They have to go abroad. But Swaminathan, I live in great fear because I know even here things are so bad with drugs and whatnot. So going there, where I can't keep an eye on them, I don't know what's going to happen. And I've told them, and I mean this dead seriously, if I ever catch any of them having done drugs, I'm going to off with myself. Because I will not be able to face society. So please, Swaminathan, I beg of you, talk to them and make them promise and swear on their lives that they will never do this. I didn't talk to the children. I talked to the child in the room. Who do you think that was? Very immature, don't you think? So what is your maturity? How much have you matured? Is your age your maturity? You know how to cross the street. Fine. Is that your maturity? Huh? You know how to go to the shop and buy something and make sure you get the right change. Is that your maturity? Is that why you call yourselves mature? You know how to find a life partner. You know how to go to the bank and open a bank account. Huh? Once you're 18, you can do that. So once you're 18, you're mature. You can now get married without your parents' consent. Is that what maturity is? Are you free from all of these? By 18, what do you think a child should aspire to have? By 18, what do you think, parents, I speak to you, what do you think you want to bestow upon your children? The knowledge to open a bank account, to cross the street, to find a good partner, or to be free from these? Where are your priorities? What do you want to give to your children? A wife who may or may not stay with him, may or may not run away, may or may not betray them, and then for your child to, or for you to receive a call from next door to tell your child has shot the wife and killed himself in the process, or to equip them with these things so that no matter what goes on around them, they're not perturbed, they're not bothered. See, your paths, whatever paths you have chosen, ladies and gentlemen, they never took you anywhere near freeing yourself from any of these. You became teachers, you have become doctors, you have become engineers, you have become good businessmen and women. You have become politicians. You have become authors. You have become artists. You have become singers. You have become performers. There may be magicians here, whatnot. There will be people from all walks of life. There will be the rich and there will be the ultra-rich. But again, I have to ask you this question. Are you free from all of these? If not, why did you become human? With all the money in the world, how much can you eat? Honestly. Only as much as you can stuff in that bag of yours inside of your body, right? Once your stomach is full, you can't shove any more than that into it. So how much can all the money in the world feed you? Only that much. How much can all the money in the world dress you? 1, 2, maybe 3 layers of clothing. That's it. What about the brand though? Isn't that important, the brand? The brand is only a convention. If people who live around you, people who live with you, the people who have the cameras on them and the photographs and the people who have the social media with them, if they accept that whatever brand is the acceptable brand, is a prime brand, right? They hype it all up. They create this brand world. And then you bite it. You accept it. You fall for it. I know some people who are addicted to brands. Because these are some people who come for treatment. What treatment? To our monastery, they come for treatment. Sometimes parents bring their children. They say, Swami Nahansa, we just about make ends meet. But this child, he's addicted to brands. He only wears this brand of shoes. He only wears this brand of watch. He only uses this brand of phone. He only wears this brand of clothing. He'll never be found wearing another branded shirt. It has to be this kind of shirt. I'm not going to say the brands because it's not suitable on a sermon. They'll think I'm advertising. There are those who are addicted to brands. Their life then becomes a quest to bear all these branded things on their bodies and go around showing off to people that they live that kind of lifestyle. So who are you living for then? Yourself or others? Have they achieved this? Don't you think that's inferiority? Mentally, they're suffering from inferiority. That's an inferiority complex. Because they feel inferior to everyone else around them, they need the brand to raise them up. That's what they're doing. I've got nothing against the brands. May the brands live long and prosper. Nothing against them. If people have figured how to make money, then let them do so. Nothing against that. I speak on behalf of the people who suffer. That's all. If there's anyone in this room who doesn't suffer, you are free to leave because I don't speak on your behalf. You might even be offended. How dare you speak against the brands? That's what I'm saying. I don't have anything against the brands. I speak only on behalf of people who suffer. Don't come here if you don't suffer. Because if you do suffer, then I'll be pulling those needles out of you and it's going to hurt sometimes. I'm going to be pulling those bullets out of you because these were the bullets that you got shot with. You got shot with the brand bullet. You got shot with the ego bullet. You got shot with the beauty bullet. There may be some around here. They got shot with the beauty bullet. And now to please everyone around them, they have to look beautiful. And they commit their entire life for that. But inside, they still got all of these. What's the point of that life? And they'll even be willing to go under the knife. Cut this part off, cut that part off, slice this part off, straighten this part, extend that part, put a ring around that part, stitch these two parts together, give me a design on that part. If they haven't achieved this, what's the point? Someone who tries to look beautiful is not beautiful within. Don't you get it? If you are beautiful within, why do you try to look beautiful? Do you see me putting on makeup? I mean, would you accept me if I had makeup on? I am beautiful within, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, I don't need anyone to tell me that I am beautiful. I am beautiful within. Beauty within is being free from all of these. Today there are girls who look like Barbie dolls. Tell me you haven't seen them. There are young people who go through this. Their youthful years. At least, life that they could have spent getting themselves a good education. Right? If nothing else. I say if nothing else. Now you understand how much I think about education. Education is not the answer to suffering. Educate people in the dhamma, that is the answer to suffering. Educate people in science, math, philosophy, religion, sociology, whatever, social studies. These things will help them live a comfortable life in this life. But nothing after this life. So do young people need education? Absolutely. Yes. Every young person we have at the monastery, we give them education. Even I'm taking education. I take education. Because to live in this world, to understand how other people operate, how people work, how you can help other people, you need to educate yourselves. Absolutely. But that does not give you any of this. Freedom from any of this. I need you to step outside your boxed thinking. Get out of that box. This is a box that society built for you. And then you just walked into it. And the moment you walked in, they shut the door. Now you're in there. This is how drushti works. Once you get this drushti, that this world is pleasurable, essence-full, and delightful, you need a Buddha to turn you around 180 degrees. Every man, woman and child who's come into samsara will only come out of samsara once they come across a Buddha or one of his disciples. Einstein cannot do that for them. Newton cannot do that for them. Do you see the gravity of this problem? But who do people revere today? The Buddha or Einstein? Put Buddha to a side. Who do people revere today? Jesus Christ or Einstein? Many young people out there today, a lot of people identify themselves as atheistic. In fact, not even atheistic. They believe, I don't have religion. Many young people today, recent consensus show that many young people today, they don't subscribe to any philosophy. For them, a materialistic life is the meaning to happiness. Because momentarily it brings you happiness, yes, but that's only relief from vexation. If you want to eat chocolate, you are given a piece of chocolate, you eat it, and in that moment you are freed from vexation. But chocolate is not the source of happiness. If it was, why don't you eat it every day, all day? Why doesn't chocolate make everyone happy? This is simple, isn't it? Simple logic. But simple logic won't make sense to you until someone shows it to you. The people who are going to show that to you are the people who have understood Ashvada, Adina and Nissarana. That is the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha does not say that there is no such thing called pleasure in this world. He says there is, but see it properly. Look at it insightfully. There is such a thing called Ashvada, which is pleasure. But pleasure is not what you make of it. Pleasure is merely relief from vexation. You have to be in pain first. It's a temporary relief from pain that brings you pleasure. This is what the Swami says the Anagarikas and Anagarikas would have tried to share with you when you were at the monastery last week. That is what pleasure is. But this is a pleasure trap. Because people experience pleasure just momentarily, they feel, okay, so now I found it. In the next moment, that becomes my hope. So now ever hopeful for the next moment of pleasure, they live on. And therefore hope keeps people alive. When would you fill a pot that has a hole at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me. When can you do that? How many liters of water can fill a pot that has a hole in the bottom? How many? How many hours of filling can fill a pot that has a hole at the bottom? How many? You tell me, come on. How much water and how many hours of watering it is going to fill that pot? None, right? You go tell that to the people. And they'll tell you are crazy. They'll tell you are crazy. Because the toughest thing to do here, that's why giving Buddhist philosophy is such a hard thing to do. You're trying to teach people who are happy how to be happy. That's why this is the hardest philosophy to teach someone. Bring a bunch of people like this, unless they have merits, they're not going to get it. That's why you are meritorious. Remember what Hema Lokahamdru explained to you when he gave the sermon? I was listening to that talk, and so many times he said how meritorious you are. I don't think you understand how meritorious you really are actually. Because most of you are actually happy in society, in life you are happy, but that happiness is not the happiness that Buddha Sasana offers you. You know your own kind of happiness. Now try convince you that that is not happiness and there's a better happiness than that. It takes merits at least to sit down and listen to that. Because even as you invite someone to come and sit down, come into a sermon and listen to it, you're probably thinking, why should I be doing that when I can actually be going out there looking for happiness? Why should I be here? If you had food at home, let's just say you had food at home, and I invite you to feed you, why would you come here? You're going to eat what you have at home. But the problem is this, that food you have at home, it's not really food. It's dung. It's cow dung. But dressed up as food. It's the feces of an animal, dressed up as food. It's garnished. It's colored. It has a nice smell, but it's not the food that's going to nourish you. So you keep on eating that. And then try and convince people to come here and listen to a sermon. They're not interested because they already have food. Plates full of it. This is why giving the Buddha Sasana is such a difficult thing to do. Although this is the truth, and there is no truth that is more supreme, there is no truth more sublime, unless people have merits, they're not going to get it. Because to understand this, you need wisdom. Today you understand when I explain to you that pleasure only comes from relief from vexation, right? And you think that is simple. It's simple for those who have wisdom. Try and convince a blind man they're blind. Good luck. Anyone here had luck trying to convince a blind man that they're blind? They are blind from birth. Now try and convince them they're blind. How are you going to explain that to them? You say blind, they go, what? Blind? What do you mean? You can't see. What do you mean see? You mean like this? No, that's not seeing, that's touching. Seeing? What do you mean seeing? Like, these figures out there, colors, the sun, the sky, seeing. What are you talking about? Are you mad? Is what they're going to ask you. Won't they? Get out of this box that people have built for you. It's a sand castle. Don't walk into it. The sand castle will only be there until the tide washes it away. All of the castles that society have built for you, I'm sorry to say, that's not brick and mortar. That's built in sand. Marriage is a sand castle. Walk into it at your own peril. Can you still stomach what I'm saying? Shall I carry on? Or is it too much? Are you here for the truth? I asked you right at the beginning of this sermon. Are you here? No questions asked, no ifs, no buts, unconditionally. Are you here for the truth? Are you here to free yourselves? Well, then marriage is a sandcastle. Ask those who got washed away, and they'll tell you it is a sandcastle. That's not me saying that your wife or your husband is an evil person. That's not me saying that they're after they're after your throat. They're here to get you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is, if you want to get married to an arahant. Then you're all right. Who here is married to an arahant? Why is getting married to an arahant a good thing to do? Why? Because they'll give you compassion, nothing expected in return. They'll listen to all your sorrows, not expecting for them to have their piece to say as well. Because they have no sorrows to share with you. They'll give you loving kindness unconditionally. It's not on their good days, because they don't have bad days. But your spouse, no matter how gentle, how generous they are, they still have their good days and they have their bad days. Catch him on a good day, you're going to have a good day. Catch him on his bad day, you know what it's like. It's a sandcastle. Building up a business, ground up, that's a sandcastle. Walk into it at your own peril. Because when the wind comes, when the tide comes in, it's going to wash it all away. Build up a career for yourselves, if that you feel is what you have come into this world for. Build up a career for yourselves. Invest 25, 30, 40, 50 years of your life and build up a career for yourself. A very glamorous career. But that's a sandcastle. When the tide comes, it will wash it all away. The richest man in the world didn't die the richest man in the world. When he died, he was the poorest man in the world. The prettiest woman in the world, when she was dead, was she still the prettiest woman in the world? Give it a week. Give it 1 week. You think she's still going to be the prettiest woman in the world? Now what is she going to be? The ugliest woman in the world. You probably won't even recognize her as a woman if you give it enough time. I said you wouldn't recognize it as a woman if you give it enough time. Not her, it. So what's the point? Don't make that the quest of your life is what I'm asking you. Is that unfair? Do you think I'm speaking to you in unfair terms? Do you think I'm making an unreasonable ask of you? Do you feel that way? You might think, this is hard to do, Swami Nuhansa. We live a lay life, and in our lay lives we have to, adjust ourselves. We have to conform to the norms and the ways in which the world works. So we have to be someone, we have to become someone, we have to go places, do things and be with people and so on. This life that you're talking about, yes, it seems true, but how can we ever do it? You got that question, right? I have to come back to the one question that I asked you at the beginning. What did you come into this world for? If you came into this world to become the most beautiful woman in the world, right? If that is why you actually came into this world, then you go do that. If you came into this world to become the most handsome man in the world, then go do that. If you came into this world to become the richest man alive, then go do that. If you came into this world to become the most knowledgeable man alive, the one who knows it all, then go do that. If you came into this world to become a father to as many children as possible, then go do that. Go do that. If you came into this world to become the happiest man alive, then come do what I tell you to do. If you do what I tell you to do, you'll be free from these things. If you continue on the paths that you are on, you will go on to become the richest man in the world, 2024. Don't forget the time. You can go on to become the most beautiful woman in the world, 2035. Because these are all timely achievements. Time will always snatch it away from you. If you ever achieve something that is not time-bound, meaning time doesn't take it away from you, and it's not Nibbāna, come and talk to me. From that day on, I will stop preaching to you. Because I have not yet discovered the truth, is what I'll have to be convinced with. Either you are right or I'm right. We can't both be right. I speak to you because I love you. You need to understand this, folks. Don't look at me like that. Understand this truth. Free yourself from suffering. Why do you look at me helplessly? When I look at your faces and you look at me like Swaminathan, what do we do? I'm giving you the answers to those problems. You know you are trapped. You know that. You know you live a life of misery. You know that these things bother you day in, day out. And you have so gotten accustomed to it now. You're used to it now, aren't you? Every day you've been going through this rigmarole, and now you're used to it. Have you become numb to suffering? Let's sing that song then, shall we? I've become so numb. Have you honestly become numb to suffering? I mean, fear, what to do? Fear, no, what to do? Fear. Is that where you settled? Huh? Sorrow comes and slices you left, right and center, and you're okay with that? Fear comes and tears you apart, and you're okay with that? Grief is just around the corner. Who's next in your family to go? Haven't you already got someone in mind? See? Haven't you already got someone in mind? Anyone in this room who doesn't know who's the next one in line to go? Put their hand up. I mean, even if it's just biological death. Biologically, right? We all have a clock. Right? Nothing untoward happens, no accidents, no unexpected events, just biologically you are about to, people die. Put your hand up if you don't know the next person to go in your families. Well, there you go. Isn't it just around the corner? So isn't grievance just around the corner? What are you doing to prepare yourselves for that? Going to school? Children? Going to school? Signing the next business deal? Going to the gym? How about that? Pump up those muscles. Let's earn some more, shall we? Let's earn some more. so that we can prepare ourselves for when that event comes. You know your mother's in line. You know this. You know your mother's next. Are you ready? You know your father's next. Are you ready? And if the two of you are still okay, mother and father are still okay, you've got a cancer. Mother and father, you know your son is next. Are you ready? Shall we go and earn some more money then to prepare ourselves? Shall we take another degree? Shall we? Shall we go on another holiday? How's that for size? Let's go on a holiday. Let's all go on a holiday. Shall we? Let's go traveling around the world to get our mind off things for a while. To pretend like it's not going to happen. Shall we do that? These are the boxes that people build for you and you sleepwalk into them. If you are distressed, go on a holiday. What madness. How does going on holiday fix that problem? If attachment is what causes suffering, how does going on holiday deal with attachment? I mean, is a travel operator going to operate it out of you? Huh? When you go to Hawaii and they put that garland around your neck, do they take your attachment out of you at the same time? If suffering is caused by attachment, ladies and gentlemen, then do something to rid yourself of attachment. Nothing else is going to free you from suffering. How else must I explain this to you? I know you're here on Sundays, and hats off to you for that. But I don't know what you do when you're not here. This time you have dedicated to Nibbāna, admitted. I agree. No questions about that. But what about the other times? I don't know about that. Then I wonder, should I be responsible for that? I do wonder, should I be responsible for what you do when you're not here? I don't know, somehow there's a voice in the back of my head saying, yes, you are. Try and help me stop that voice, will you? Let's all do that. Maybe hypnotize me or something. Just get that annoying voice at the back of my head to shut up. So I don't feel responsible for what happens to you when you're not here. It's a real annoyance. I know when I leave today, after you have offered arms and whatnot, that's it, I'm not going to see you for another week. So, but who's going to see you over that week? Who's going to teach you the truth? Who's going to remind you, this is what you came into this world for? Because you're going to be back on your tracks, your usual tracks. Let's go find some more money. Let's go sign another business deal. Let's go throw a party. Let's fly to Los Angeles. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go enjoy, let's throw a party. Let's invite our friends round. Let's sing a song and let's dance. How is that going to free you from suffering? You know your mother is next in queue. Are you ready? Every day you exchange words of affection. And with every word, those bonds, they only harden. Don't they? Every caress, every loving word shared between two people, what does that do to the relationship? It strengthens the relationship. It fortifies the relationship. That's not me saying, now don't go home, when you get back home, don't speak lovingly. Because you have to. I can speak lovingly to you, but not let it affect me. I can swear at you folks and be cool as a cucumber inside. Because it is not my suffering that's going to free you from suffering, it's these words, that's all. So I can give you the words and not suffer inside. But when your child hits his head on something, bangs his head on a table or something, or snubs his toe on something, you also suffer. How is your suffering going to help the child? Your child falls, he scrapes his knee. Now you have to rush him to the hospital to stop the bleeding, to heal, to maybe do an operation or whatever, to fix him up. But the child is suffering, and you as a mother, you're also suffering. How is your suffering going to help heal the child any sooner? But you can't help it, can you? You also suffer. If you get to know that your child's got a Your child is paralyzed. You just get news today. You get a text soon after this message. He's fallen off some height. And he's been rushed to hospital. Broken back. As a mother and a father in this room, how are you going to feel? Your heart's going to stop for a moment, isn't it? And you're going to suffer. How is your suffering going to help your child heal any faster? Is your suffering going to get your child better medication? Better treatment? Is it going to reduce the healing time? None of it is going to happen, but you can't stop it. You know it's meaningless. You know it's not rational, but you can't stop it. Why? No dhamma. As long as attachment and ignorance lay hidden in the dark corners of your mind, they will surface the moment you are presented with an object. I'm not telling you off, by the way. You might think, from the start of the sermon today, Yaminas is telling us off. I don't know, he must be in a bad mood or something today. He probably got off the wrong side of the bed. No, I'm not telling you off. I'm only speaking to you out of compassion. I need you to have a sense of urgency. Because your human life is the only chance you get, folks, to free yourself from all this. Lanka at home has become a grandmother. You may find that today when you get back home, she has become a grandmother. Is that your goal in life? For a lot of women, their goal in life is to one day become a mother. Is that what womanhood has come to? I mean, come on, women in this room. Is that what you want in life, to become a mother? Is that the greatest achievement that you can hope for, to become a mother one day? That again is what society has built for you. That's another trap. Once you walk into that, you become a mother, and then for the rest of your life you suffer. I'm not against you becoming mothers, but what I'm saying is, don't make that the be-all and end-all of your life. The be-all and end-all of your life should be this. If I ask you, why do you wish to become a mother, you will tell me, because I want to free myself from suffering. But becoming a mother is not the answer to that problem. So become a mother should you choose to. But work on this. Work on your defilements. Work on your mental freedom. And then give the same to your children so that they will consider themselves blessed to have been born children to you. Most children, they die cursing their parents. Most children, when they live, a lot of people around them curse the parents that gave birth to them. Tell me you haven't heard people say these things. Haven't you heard people saying, may the grave of the mother who gave birth to this child be struck by lightning? You've not heard these things? You've not heard these things? What, you and I, we live in different planets or what? Why? Because parents give children education. That's it. Education. And inheritance. That's it. They don't give them this. They don't give them the dhamma. So the child's mind suffers. And when the child's mind suffers, they are vexed, they have lust, they have desire, they have greed, they have anger, they have jealousy. And when these things come and encroach the mind, and the mind starts to vex, now there's only one thing they know to do. And that is, what you want, you go get. So when they're having lustful thoughts, they care not about who that girl is, and the fact that they also have a sister, and the fact that that girl also has a mother. Others, people who rape, they can't think straight. You have compassion towards the girl who got raped. I also have compassion towards the guy who raped the girl. Can you look at it from both sides? I ask you. If not, you haven't really understood the Dhamma yet. If you are partisan to this relationship, the one who got raped and the rapist, if you take one side, you haven't understood the Dhamma yet. You still look at the world as good and bad. That is worldly. That's why I'm asking you to step outside this mundane thinking. All minds are minds. Hurt people Do what? Hurt people. And when you hurt someone, that is a hurt that you deposit in the bank account. What goes around, comes around. So then actually when you look at it that way, there are no good people and bad people. There are just the bad deeds and the good deeds. We need to do away with the bad deeds, not the bad people. That's why I said the other day, hate the sin, but love the sinner. Only the Dhamma can help you do that. Because when you think of the rapist, you go into one of these states. So the moment I say, girl who got raped, you go into one of these states. You go maybe into sorrow. Maybe you go into disappointment. Maybe you go into hope. And when I say rapist, now you go into anger. Where's anger? Anger? There's anger. You go into anger. You go into fury. You go into rage. See, again, you're stuck in worldly emotions. This is the world that you construct for yourselves. Come out of it. And you can't just jump out of it. It's not like, jump on a springboard and come out of it. It is the Dhamma that will help you out of it. Do you understand what we are here for? Do you understand why I need you to do this with a sense of urgency, ladies and gentlemen? Your life and the Dhamma are the only two things that can help you. I can give you the Dhamma, and one day when this seat, I am no longer in this seat, someone else will come and sit on this seat and they will continue these preachings. When that Swaminvans is not here, another Swaminvans will come here and they will continue these preachings. But you only have this life. When your life is done, someone else will come and take that seat as well, not you. Then no one speaks on your behalf. When that day comes, your story is done. That's why Guru Handru said, once you are dead, don't worry, I will not be troubling you. It's true. It is only while you're alive, while you're able to get yourselves to the sermons, either here or online at the very least, and while you're able to understand what we are trying to explain to you, while you still feel the value of the association with the Mahasangha, can these words make an actual difference in your lives? Please let these words have that change on you. For nothing else, I don't expect anything from you besides your own freedom. You will understand one day why Swaminvans feels so much about your suffering. Today you may not realize this, because today you might think, why does he care so much about our suffering? I mean, if he's done his job, if he's able to free himself, why can't he just be happy with that? Why does he care so much about us? What's the deal? That is also because of your lack of understanding of the Dhamma. If you recall, on one occasion I mentioned, once an Arahant becomes an Arahant, he realizes he has not even begun his quest of freeing minds from suffering. It is only until you become an Arahant you feel, it is my suffering I'm here to relieve myself from. My suffering. But once you have become an Arahant, the suffering that was, he realizes was not my suffering, because the concept of my disappears. The concept of self disappears. So all that is left now is what? Chittas, minds, suffering. What was there previously? Minds, suffering. His mind, or at least we refer to as his mind, was just another mind. Upon becoming an Arahant, he realizes that all minds are just minds. And there is no his mind, my mind, your mind, their mind. These are all separations that we create in our own mind because of ignorance. But an Arahant is someone who is free of ignorance. So therefore, they don't see this separation that you and I do. They don't personify suffering. Therefore, they don't personify Nibbāna. It doesn't belong to anyone. Suffering doesn't belong to anyone, and neither does Nibbāna. But an Arahant realizes this. And so therefore, they come to the understanding, I haven't even begun yet. That's why I say, today you may question, why does Swaminvasa care so much about our suffering? If he's done his part, why is he not, why can't he be happy with that? I can't, because it's not my suffering I'm working on. My fight is against suffering. Now, don't you all suffer? Then I still have a fight. If all of you could say, Swaminvasa, we're all free from suffering, right? Let's all go outside and talk to other people who are suffering out there. Until there's life inside me, until my heart beats, My fight will always be against suffering, not my suffering. Because suffering is not mine. It's suffering. If you wanted to find an owner for suffering, there are only two owners you can actually find. That is ignorance and attachment. Suffering doesn't belong to anyone. It belongs to ignorance. It belongs to attachment. Does that make sense to you all? I've come prepared with a video that I wanted to show you. And then before we conclude, I'll show you a short summary of your time at the monastery last week. I wanted to bring that along as well so that everyone could rejoice in it, because I'm sure there were those who were not able to come along. But before that, I want to show you this video. I want you to think of something, folks. I want you to take a moment to think about why people put themselves through this. I want you to think about how much sensuality has made people lose sense of why they have come into this world. The people that you will see on screen will be engaging day in, day out, trying to achieve what they think is happiness. To them, happiness may be being with a woman, eating nice foods, dressing well, going places, having a dance, singing a song, laughing, building a house for themselves. Not just a house to keep them from the elements, but building a big house. Showing themselves off. For that, in that name, look at all the things that people are willing to do. And see whether you feel the same sympathy towards them as I do. As you watch this, I ask you, if that was one of your brothers, if the people you see on screen are one of your sisters, one of your brothers, what would you want for them? Would you want to go and give them some money? Would you want to go and give them some food because you think they're poor? Would you want to go and build a house for them because you think they have no shelter? Or would you want to give them something that can free themselves from this fallacy that they have in their minds? This madness, this insanity that they have in their heads, and therefore, like the donkey behind the carrot, like a deer in a desert that keeps running towards a mirage, thinking that one day, hopefully, I can achieve that. Toiling themselves, exhausting themselves, and really burning away their valuable human hours, human life. Life that was gifted to them to achieve freedom from this. Look at what people get up to in the name of sensuality. Let's have a look. Would you want that for your brother? But that's someone's brother, isn't it? Would you want that for your father? But there is someone's father. I can't turn a blind eye to that, ladies and gentlemen, by thinking that is someone else's father. I don't know if you can, but I can't. I don't feel that way. I used to. I don't. That's why I speak to you in the same tone. These people, they're breaking their backs. Some people, they have to do this no matter what age they are. 60, 70, sometimes going 80. They can't stand up straight anymore because their backs are so bent now. Their backs are crooked. Just from carrying the sheer weight that they have been carrying over the last 20 years of their life trying to feed their families. But not just feeding their families. They expect happiness to come from the outside. Because they don't want just a meal. It has to be a delicious meal. What is delicious to you may be different to them. They can't even think of affording what is delicious to you, perhaps. But they want to please their senses. Why? Because they're suffering from these things. They feel they have expectations and they have to fulfill them. To fulfill those expectations, they have to break their backs. They have to toil day and night. Do you know how many people fall off those cliffs every year? If just carrying one of those weights, someone has a slip and a fall, they are paralyzed. From there on, these things remain. Don't they? When you are paralyzed, does it take away one of these things as well? Once you get paralyzed, does sorrow go away and fear go away? No, they remain just the same. What goes away is the ability to do something about it, at least temporarily. So what do you want to give them? An increment? A better wage? A meal? Shall we all get together and collect some money and build them some houses? Shall we send their children to good schools? How about that? Shall we get them some medicine to heal their backs? What do you want to do? That's someone's mother, someone's father, someone's brother. You don't want that for your children. You don't want that for your parents. You don't want that for your siblings. So why someone else's then? So shall we all get together and find some food for them? Build them some houses to live in? Or shall we help them to free themselves from these things? I spoke to you the other day about the mission of the sasana. The mission of the sasana is to give the gift of the truth, the Buddha's teaching, his philosophy to people who suffer like this. Did you see the man who was counting his hard-earned money? Did you see the smile on his face? You know the things that are going on in his head. With this, I can send my child to school. With this, I can throw a party. With this, I can eat the nice things and feed my daughter who has been asking for that chocolate. With this, I can send her to play with her friends. With this, I can buy a nice dress for my wife. With this, maybe I can buy some flowers for her. Why? He suffers from these things. If we were to walk up to them and say, I'll give you the 4 requisites. Food, shelter, arms, and medicines. Come and be with us. Do you think they'll be prepared to do so? You think so? No. Because they haven't understood the truth. They haven't realized why they have come into this world as human beings. They think it is to enjoy sensuality as much as they can. They break their backs, you break your minds. That's the difference between you and them. You don't have to sweat it out. You stress it out. They sweat, you stress. They don't have the mental stresses. But they have the physical stresses. But you have all the mental stresses. That is what your white-collar jobs have gifted you. You've earned, you've educated yourselves so you don't have to break your backs. But how many people in good companies, big companies, earning large wages, go and jump off bridges because they just can't handle the stress of it all? A mother is a mother is a mother when her child runs away with a boy and she knows what that's going to do for the family, to the family. If she has no dhamma, she only has one answer. She doesn't know how to face up to the challenges. She doesn't know how to face up to the adversities that are about to come to her. All the disgrace that's just going to come and slap on her face left, right and center. All her relations who are going to come and start mocking her. You know this happens in society. Everyone's there with you until it all starts going south. Until then, everyone's there with you. Your cousins are going to be there with you. Your relations are all going to be there with you until the sun is out. But when the skies darken, then no friends. Only the Kalyana Mitras remain with you in those moments. In other words, what the Kalyana Mitras have given you to save yourselves when those moments come. That is why I ask you. That is why I said, when I leave this place every Sunday afternoon, I know I'm leaving you with no Kalyana Mitra until the next week comes round. You'll have lots of friends. I know you have lots of friends. You probably have more friends than I've ever had friends in my entire life. More friends than I've ever had. You have lots of friends. You're still on Facebook, aren't you? You know how many friends you have. I don't have Facebook. I don't have any friends. But what are those friends going to do to you? Do for you when these things come to you? When your mother dies, can your friend come and cry on your behalf? Suffer on your behalf and take your suffering on your behalf? Can they? But a Kalyana Mitra can, by giving you the Dhamma. So you make a decision, a conscious decision, ladies and gentlemen, where and with whom do you want to spend the most part of your life? If you want to surround yourselves with the friends that you know today, with the society that you know today, with the people that you know today, doing the things that they have told you are the right things to be doing today, then you better brace yourselves for the storm that is coming. But if you know better, if you can think intelligently, open your eyes to reality, and try and understand why the Mahasangha speaks to you in this manner, to open your eyes and speaks to you out of compassion, to awaken the light within you, to get you to rise up and come out of this veil of ignorance and experience wisdom and see reality as it is, and see that this world wasn't made for you to enjoy a happy life, but rather as a punishment to you for having come into it. Then make use of this opportunity to listen to the teaching. Get closer to the Buddha through his disciples. Get closer to his message by listening to it and practicing it. And find freedom from all of these things. There's only one path out of this. Ekāya noyam bhikkhave maggo sattānam visuddhya. Do you see Soka Paridda? Soka Parideva is this. Soka Pariddhavānam samatikkamāya. Dukkha domanassanam. See? Dukkha domanassa. Dukkha domanassanam attangamāya. Nyāyassa adhigamāya, to achieve wisdom, to achieve greater knowledge. Nibbānassa Rajagiriya, to attain ultimate happiness, which is what you came into this world for in the first place. Chattaro Satipatthana. It is only the 4 states of mindful awareness. That is what we share here. How do you look at a body? Mindfully, awarely. With mindful awareness, how do you look at a body? How do you perceive your feelings with mindful awareness? How do you perceive consciousness with mindful awareness? And how do you look at perceiving dhamma through mindful awareness? That is what the dhamma teaches you. When are you going to step up to that? I have committed my life to that purpose. How much of yours have you? Mine, 100%. Attahi attano nato. Kohi nato parosya. You are your only refuge. No one else can do it on your behalf. So if you want to while away your valuable human years, going after your sensual pursuits, trying to become the richest man in the world, building up those businesses, or trying to become the most beautiful, the fairest of them all, the most handsome of them all, I'm sorry that we ever met. Because my knowing you hasn't done anything for you. My coming to know you hasn't done anything for you. Our meeting has not done anything for you. I hope you understand the compassion with which I speak to you. This is not to disdain your efforts. This is not to scorn you, to mock you, or to ridicule you, or in any way. This is not to belittle you or undermine you. If that's how I felt about you, I would just come here and do a song and a dance and crack a joke and make you laugh and go away. That's not what we're here for. We're here to do serious business, because life is serious. Sansara is serious. Let's not be casual with the serious things in life. So therefore, I appreciate and I honor and respect whatever efforts you make on your quest to free yourselves from all of this and to achieve a greater happiness, the only real happiness. And that is what you did last Sunday. When you set time aside and you all got together and organized it as a community, and you came to embrace what the Mahasangha had to offer to you. I had to hear a lot of comments from most of you, a lot of you were very impressed by what you experienced at the monastery. And once again, that's not just one person. That's what I always keep telling you. It's not me who does that. And you heard the same from Guru Swami Nuhanse as well. It's not he who does that alone. In this sasana, none of us can do it alone. If we could, the Buddha would have done it alone. But he didn't do it alone because he couldn't. This relies on a community. The community is what brings the environment together. But individually, we practice. The practice is individual, but the community, bringing the causes together, that's a community thing. So that is what you experienced when you came to the monastery last week, the community of the Mahasangha. That is why you experience a protection, a wealth of compassion and loving kindness and teaching and guidance that you never experienced for all the last 6-7 months I've been preaching to you. And I'm glad that realization happened for all of you. So I want to show you this short video clip as well, of all the good things that you got up to at the monastery. We managed to capture some of it on camera. I'm sure there were lots of wonderful things that didn't get captured on camera, but I'm sure it's in your minds and hearts, and I want you to rejoice in them for as long as you remember them. But this is a short message from all of us at the monastery, from Guru Swami Nuhanse and all of our monks, Anagarikas and Anagarikas, who were just as pleased as you were to come to the monastery to receive you and to give you noble companionship.
තිසරණේන සද්දින් ගහට්ඨ දස සීලං ධම්මං සාධුකං සුරක්ෂිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන.
I don't know how much merit you all have to come here and participate in something like this.
So when I say Mona Lisa, you're reminded of Da Vinci. So when you come up to me and say, Swaminathan, you changed my life. You have transformed me. I'm not the same man I used to be. I'm not the same woman I used to be. I have become a far better mother than I ever thought I'd be able to be. in this life. What you're really doing is you're appreciating Mona Lisa, whereas in fact, your appreciations, your credit is actually due to Da Vinci. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Da Vinci. It gives me the greatest honor and the highest privilege. Nothing makes me happier than to hear him speak. Nothing gives me greater delight than to be in his shadows and walk in his footsteps. If there's one thing I always wish with every merit I do, it is that until my last breath, may I always have him as my teacher in front of me and guide me and correct me when I'm wrong and tell me when I'm right. And he has been doing that without fail. For the last however many years I've known him, both as a lay person and then as my teacher, my Guru Swami Nuhanse. He's been the strength, he's been our pillar. From the very first grain of sand that belonged to the Buddha Sasana on the grounds that you are in today, to everything you see around you, and especially the people whose lives have been transformed, whose lives have been blessed, whose lives today mean a lot more than they used to. There's one man behind all that, and that one man is my teacher. So, without any further ado, I wish to gift you his presence. I wish to offer to you for being so kind, for being so generous, for being the people that you have been, for being a bunch of people who've committed themselves to the cause of Nibbāna. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring him here. Because he doesn't want to speak to someone who's not interested in Nibbāna. That's how committed he is to this cause. If you think I'm committed, just imagine how committed my teacher must be. He breathes only because it means that breath can take him one step closer to Nibbāna. So, I present to you the most venerable Guru Hamaduru.
We really want to give you what we have understood and what we have experienced. We want you to experience that. I ordained because of the Dhamma. I understood the Dhamma. Therefore, I ordained. I was in England at that time when I understood the Dhamma. I didn't want to stay there anymore. I had everything. I ordained not because I lost people. I lost money. I ordained because of the Dhamma. I saw that through the Dhamma, I can achieve my salvation. I can achieve happiness. And I can prove you that. You just need to associate us. We will prove you that. Another thing is, we will prove you that how the Mahasangha can help you to come out of this hell. If I use that word. Hell. You may think that doctors help you a lot to come out of suffering. Lawyers help you a lot to come out of suffering. That's also correct. But when we say that, Mahasangha also help you to come out of suffering. You need the protection of the Mahasangha. Sometimes you don't believe that because you may think that normally they come to our dhane, they come to our Vansukule. How can that be a protection? But that is not the one. A doctor can help you to cure your physical pain. But nobody can help you to cure your mental suffering. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, mental suffering is unbearable. Have you heard anyone commit suicide or committed suicide because of a headache, shoot themselves, eat a gun because of a headache, toothache? No, because of mental suffering. It's unbearable. The Mahasangha can help you to come out of that. But it's not an easy task. Therefore, finally, I can tell you again, the Mahasangha is always be with you. I can't say that for you, because we are not for you. We are with you. We can't run for you. We will run with you to your salvation. Therefore, you yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. Tumme kichang atappang akkataro tathagata. The Buddhas only point the way, and they will point the way. You yourself must strive. May the Triple Gem bless you all.
So, there we are. That is what I've been trying to explain to you today. The doctor can't help you free yourself from this. So therefore, you becoming a doctor is not the answer to this. If you want to help your child free themselves from all of this, making him a doctor is not the answer to that. Because doctors go through this as well. You can't operate this out with surgery. There's only one way out of this. That is the dhamma. As much as you allow us, the Mahasangha, to help you, is the extent to which you can be helped. Because this is not something that can be force-fed. Your being here is a vote to receive help. Wherever you are, in the community of the Mahasangha, that is your vote to receive help. We all need help. I myself, I don't consider myself to be the Mahasangha. I'm just a member of the community that represents the Mahasangha. I'm not the Mahasangha. I need the Mahasangha. We all do. You watched the video earlier, the one before this, and you told me you'd never want something like that for your parents, for your father, your brother, your son. And if you saw them in a situation like that today, you're going to give them the dhamma, is what you told me. Yeah? Or are we going to give them a better job? What's the point? You have better jobs. Still, you have all of this. So a better job is not the answer. A promotion is not the answer. An increment is not the answer. A bonus, a big, fat, juicy bonus at the end of the year is not the answer. Let's come out of that thinking. You now have the answer. Let's start working towards that. And if you are willing, I'm willing. I give you my 100%. What's left is how much are you willing to give. Together we can make this happen. That I can give you my promise. Like I said, if I leave this seat, someone else will come and take this seat. A Swamin Wahanse will always be here to always guide you. We have made sure of that. For the next 600 years, there will always be someone on this seat. We are making plans for that, not for this next 50 years, next 100 years. We are making plans for the next 600 years. We want to be part of the reason why the Buddha Sasana thrives for the next 600 years. If you want to be part of that, then be part of that. To be part of that, the first thing you need to do is embrace the teaching. Become a disciple. Realize what the Dhamma can do for you. Until you do so, you are not able to give this to someone else convincingly. All right. Let's do the merit transfer and bring the sermon to a close. Let us all take a moment then to transfer all the merits that we have acquired by making offerings to the infinite virtues of the Noble Triple Gem, inviting the Mahasangha to deliver the sermon, listening to the sermon and creating a conducive environment so that many others can come along, listen to the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma and work towards their salvation. First and foremost, let us remind ourselves how incredibly fortunate we are to be in receipt of the Lord Buddha's teaching, and with immense gratitude towards the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, upasakas and upasikas, let us transfer these merits to them. For it is they who have protected and preserved the sublime teachings of the Buddha and passed it down through the generations of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, understand and comprehend the Dhamma. Let us also transfer this message to all members of the Mahasangha present throughout the world, including the chief prelates of all of the chapters who have dedicated their lives to the noble path and have committed themselves towards the betterment of all sentient beings. Let us also transfer this message to all the monks and nuns resident in your local temples and nunneries who have always been by your side through thick and thin, come rain or shine. Let us also transfer this message to my teacher, Guru Swamin Wahanse,
as well as all the monks resident at the monastery and the Anagarika and Anagarika communities attached to the monastery. Let us also transfer these messages to those who make great efforts to disseminate the teachings of the Buddha, be that by transliterating these talks, sharing them out with others, or inviting others to join them. May they all rejoice in these merits. Let us also transfer this message to the friends of the monastery, our devotees who, for the sake of merits to help them attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna, continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes everyone from those of you who provide the Mahasangha with shelter, alms, robes, and medicines. Excuse me. As well as those who pass on their know-how and continue to extend their well wishes. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, if any of them, may they be freed from any physical and mental ailments and overcome any obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer this message to our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews and nieces, our husbands and wives, our teachers, our elders, our friends and our acquaintances, and everyone and anyone who's gone the extra mile on our behalf, who've helped us, supported us, and assisted us in any way, shape, or form. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, may they all be healed of any physical and mental ailments and overcome any obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to the Devas and Brahmas, spirits and demons, primarily the Sakadeva, as well as all the numerous gods and deities who have committed themselves to protecting and preserving the Sambuddha Sasana. Let us transfer this message to our guardian deities who keep a watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May they all prosper in divine power and wisdom. May by the power of these merits they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to those who have passed away in our name, to our loved ones who have passed away, to our ancestors and our forefathers, reminding ourselves that it is in their blood, sweat and tears today we are able to enjoy the peace and comfort and are able to practice the path in peace and harmony. May they all rejoice in these merits. Let us also transfer these merits to all members of the armed forces as well as the police force who sacrifice their lives to protect the peace and harmony of our nation, as well as those who have lost their lives in the wars with their friend or foe. Let us also transfer this message to those who have lost their lives to natural disasters and calamities such as tsunamis and earthquakes, landslides, fires, floods, as well as the pandemics, reminding ourselves that in this infinitely long journey of samsara, they will all have been mothers and fathers to us, brothers and sisters to us, friends and acquaintances to us. They will have helped us, supported us, and assisted us in any way, shape, or form possible and available to them, with an abundance of compassion and loving kindness and gratitude towards all of them. Let us transfer all the merits we have acquired throughout the day to all of them, and may by the power of these merits, if any of them have been born in the woeful plains, they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plain. May these merits help them to abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, may by the power and blessings of all the merits we have acquired throughout the day, we be able to witness the advent of many hundreds of thousands of Arahants on this blessed land. And finally, may you and I and everyone who's helped make this program a success become a Rahatan Vahanse or an Arahat Teranin Vahanse in this very life itself and in the era of the Gautama Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. The members of the Mahasangha will transfer their blessings to you. Raga ginnen midatnva, dvesha ginnen midatnva, moha ginnen midatnva, Nibbāna parama sukhayan Sukhita taravetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayan Sukhita taravetva, Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satvayo, Nibbāna parama sukhayan සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා රාගගිනි නිවේවා ද්වේෂගිනි නිවේවා මෝහගිනි නිවේවා නිවන් සප ලැබේවා නිවන් සප ලැබේවා නිවන් සප ලැබේවා තුන්රුවන්ගේ සුවිසි අනන්ත මහා ගුණ බෙලෙන් සියලු ලෝක සියලු සත්වයෝම නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා සාදු සාදු සාදු